Hello, welcome back to online learning. Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Friday, May 8th, 2020. You know what that means? We have completed another week of online learning. I am so proud of you. I know Ms. Carranza and I talk about you guys every single day, just how proud we are of you and all the work that you have been putting in this whole week and all the weeks before. We are going on to week 7 next week. Can you believe that? We have been doing this for 7 weeks already. We are just so happy to be you guys as teachers. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's lesson so you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. Since today is Friday, please be sure that you are double checking with Miss Walton. Make sure that you have everything done. She puts everything on Dojo now. So if you need to go check on there, go ahead. And then our club is at 2. We are finishing up our topic about insects today, so please be sure that you're also logging on to Imagine Math for a little while. It can be 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever you have, just so you can keep that practice going. So to wrap up our unit about insects, today we are identifying and discussing different types of insects. So this week we've been talking about the characteristics and the body parts of them, but I want you to really be able to see what some of these insects do and how they help us and how they may be harmful. So we're going to go ahead and get started with watching a quick brain pop video with Annie and Moby.
Check it out. I found a praying mantis. What are insects? An invertebrate is an animal that does not have a spine or backbone. Insects are invertebrates. Insects can look really different from each other, but they do have some traits in common.
So before we start talking about this video, I kind of want you to take a look at this picture. So we have all different kinds of insects. What are some insects that you can already identify, that you can say their name of? Take some time to think about it. Okay. I know almost all of them. I'm still a little confused with like 2 or 3 of them. Let's see what goes on.
Insects have 3 body parts.
Oh, before we hear that one, can you remember the 3 body parts? We have the and we have
the head, thorax, and abdomen. The head has a mouth, eyes, and a pair of antennae. Insects use their antennae to smell, taste, and sense the world around them. Insects have compound eyes, which means each eye has tiny parts that point in different directions. This helps the insect to see more of its environment at once. The thorax is the middle section of the insect's body. It's where the legs attach to the body. Insects have 3 pairs of legs, for a total of 6 legs. Some insects have wings, which also attach to the thorax. The abdomen is the lower part of the body. It contains the insect's digestive system. Insects have exoskeletons, which means their skeletons are on the outside of their bodies. They do not have lungs like mammals. Instead, they breathe using tiny openings in their exoskeletons.
Okay, so remember we talked about this on Wednesday when we were reading about the different body parts. So this is where they are able to breathe in from. You know how fish have gills to breathe in? They use these little tiny openings to breathe.
Some insects look like other animals to scare off predators. Insects are cold-blooded animals, which means they use the environment to control their body temperatures. Insects have adapted to their habitats in different ways. How do insects survive in their environments? Many insects use camouflage to stay safe. Stink bugs let off a bad scent to stay safe. The milkweed grasshopper oozes a poison that can harm its predators.
Okay, so we're going to take a pause there, and I want you to think about all the different behaviors that they've been talking about. So they camouflage, like the reptiles, the chameleon. They give off stinky odor, right? So remember how we talked about the toads, that they have like a nasty taste, so that when the predators come to try to eat them, they're like, I don't want to eat that. And they're also oozing poison like the toad.
Some insects have stingers they can use to attack enemies. Certain species of insects, such as bees, wasps, termites, and ants, stay safe by sticking together.
Okay, so these are their different environments or their shelters. So we have the honeybees over here, the wasps, and the ants. So this also helps them a lot being in groups. If you see one honeybee, you probably won't be as scared as Miss Castillo and Miss Carranza get when we were at school, but you you might act differently if you see a big amount of them, like a lot of them coming at the same time. The same thing with ants. If you see one little ant, it's like, oh, it's a little ant, it's fine. But when we see those ant piles and the ant hills, that's when we get concerned, because there's so many of them, you really can't contain them all.
They live together in large groups called colonies. In ant colonies, the queen lays the eggs and the other ants protect and take care of the nest. How do insects grow and change? Insects go through metamorphosis as they turn into adults. Some insects hatch from eggs and grow into nymphs. As nymphs grow bigger and turn into adults, they molt. This means they grow bigger exoskeletons and shed their old ones. Some adult insects look a lot different from when they first hatch. Larvae hatch from eggs, grow and change into a pupa, and into a butterfly. Some people think insects are annoying pests or even scary, but they're an important part of our environment. Why are insects important? Insects help spread pollen, and plants rely on them to grow. Some insects, like aphids, can destroy plants and crops, but other insects, like ladybugs, eat the aphids. Farmers need these insects to help keep their crops healthy. Insects provide food for many animals, including reptiles, fish, birds, and mammals. They're an important part of food chains, and animals need insects to survive. People rely on insects too. Bees give us honey and wax, and silkworms give us silk. Insects live on every continent, even Antarctica. Scientists have found about 1 million species of insects, but there are a lot more that haven't been discovered. Most of the living things on our planet are insects. I love learning about insects because they can do incredible things. Well, did you know that a flea can jump 100 times its own height? That'd be the same as a person jumping over a tall building. Moby, you're such a show-off.
Alrighty, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that short video with Annie and Moby. I just really enjoy them because it gives us a good idea of all the things that we can't really talk about into detail. But what we can and will talk about today is the different types of insects. Today we are only focusing on 5 different types of insects. As you heard, there are 1 million, but our videos would be 3 hours long if I try to talk about all 1 million insects. So we're just going to focus on the 5 common insects that we see in our environment. We'll be talking today about the grasshopper, the butterfly, the bee, the ant, and the mosquito. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the most common insect that we see, the ant. Ants are small insects that come in a variety of colors. So that means that they come in different colors. They can come in black, brown, yellow, and the most dangerous, red, called fire ants. Some ants live in trees while others build nests, like the anthills, or live under leaves. Now, one thing about ants is that when they need to stay warm, remember that we talked about when insects need to get warm, especially since they are cold-blooded, they need to dig a tunnel underground to make sure that they can control their body temperature. Ants are super strong. They can lift 20 times their body weight. So something that I found interesting is that the information told me that if a second grader, like you guys, was as strong as an ant, you would be able to lift a car. That's how strong ants are. There are some ants that can literally pull like worms, or if they find a piece of food on the ground, they will get together, pick it up, and take it to their colony to make sure that everybody gets a piece. The second type of animal that we're talking about today, or the insect, is the bee. All bees have wings, but only the females have stingers. So if you've ever been bitten or stung by a bee, it was a female. It was not a male. All bees are herbivores. So do you remember what herbivores means? That they only eat plants. So bees can't chew or they can't bite, but they have their mouthpiece is actually like a straw. So they only eat nectar and pollen from the flowers and also the honey that they make. So even though they make the honey, they can also eat from it. And bees are the only insects that make food that people eat. So in the video, we saw that one of the things that they give us is honey. And although we do eat food from other animals like the cow meat or cow milk, this is the only type of food that does not need to be processed because or we don't have to hurt the bee in order to get it. Next, we have a grasshopper. Grasshoppers have very long back legs that are used for jumping. What other animal has very long back legs that help it jump? The frog, right? So they're similar in this aspect too. Farmers consider grasshoppers to be very harmful. When they are hungry, they can travel 100 or even 1,000 miles to eat any plant that they come across. So grasshoppers are also herbivores, and when they are hungry, they are ready to eat. The hind legs or the back legs have a comb-like structure, and when they rub together, that's what makes the chirping sound. So when we hear like the all the sounds, especially at night, you can hear them kind of rubbing their legs together, and that's what makes that sound. Next, we have a butterfly, one of my favorite insects. Some butterflies migrate thousands of miles to spend the winter months in a warmer climate. So we kind of talked about this when we were talking about birds and we watched that migration video. We saw that butterflies go down to like Mexico around fall time, and they expect them for Dia de los Muertos. So the monarch butterfly, that's one of the most important things about them, is that they migrate. Butterflies cannot bite or chew and get all their nourishments from drinking nectar. So very much like the bee, they have like a straw where they can suck the nectar from the flowers. Although all insects go through metamorphosis, big word for change, the drastic changes in a butterfly make it interesting because they go from an egg to a caterpillar to being in a chrysalis to an adult, right? So we talked about how frogs also go through metamorphosis, but frogs, they kind of look like frogs in each stage, except when they're eggs, but then they're like the tadpole, and then they have their little legs, but they're still kind of looking like frogs. The butterflies don't look like a butterfly until it's ready to be an adult. And the last one that we're talking about today is the mosquito. Not a fan. Mosquitoes have small heads that are almost entirely covered by two large eyes. So you can kind of see it in this picture. This black area right here, that's the eye. Female mosquitoes get protein by piercing skin of animals and humans. So most mosquitoes can just survive from the nectar or the pollen of the flowers. The females, though, the moms, they need to pierce our skin or animal skin to take little amounts of blood so they can get the protein to make their eggs, to make their babies. Most mosquitoes live around water areas. So as long as there's waters, mosquitoes can live in a lot of environments. But they are more common when it's warmer. So you'll notice when it's like winter time, fall time, we don't see as many mosquitoes, or we can be outside without getting stung by mosquitoes. But come summer and spring, when it starts getting warmer, we start seeing more and more mosquitoes come out. So for today's activity, I want you to do something very similar like when we talked about reptiles. You're going to choose your favorite insects from the ones that we talked about during this lesson, okay? Because I want you to also give me 2 reasons why it's your favorite. You're going to draw it on your Dojo sheet. You don't have to draw it on a piece of paper. When I put the activity, it has to where you can just do the drawing on Dojo. That's what you're going to do for today. And you're going to do a voice recording of why it's your favorite. You're going to give me 2 reasons. Now, if you can't do the recording, you can just type it. I know some people typed it and put it in the picture, and other people typed it on like the caption on the comment. You can do whichever one works for you if you can't figure out how to put the voice recording on it. And with that, boys and girls, we conclude week 6 of online learning with Ms. Castillo and Ms. Carranza. I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's lessons. I know I had a lot of fun putting them together, just getting ready for summer and talking about all the pretty summer stuff and all the good things that happen in summer. It gets me really excited. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Nos vemos el lunes.